presentation is really broken into two parts. The first part is going into a few little stories that when I was growing up, the things that really made a significant difference in who I am, both personally and professionally. And then the second part is going to talk about those things that I learned, and those things that those lessons that I might have learned pretty hard. Fortunately, you're here today, so you don't have to. Okay. I'm usually against emotional poise in my presentations, but I'm gonna break that rule today. This is me, about 5 months old. This is really my little sister down here. Okay, fast forward to when I was about 8 years old. This is me in about 1985, fall of the third grade. I was about 7 months from realizing my first memorable failure in my life when I was failed third grade. Now, I'm not really sure if everybody can hear me.
Make sure the mic's on.
Oh, that was on.
How's that?
Oh, great.
Great. All right. Okay. So, me, third grade. It was a time where my parents were going through a divorce. My brother and sister and I were all in some strange upheaval. And I was going to a school where I wasn't really challenged. And I didn't realize it at the time, but I was getting myself into trouble because I was bored. The next year, we moved to a different school system, one that had a gifted program. And that gifted program, it challenged me, it pushed me, it drove me. And that worked. It worked great for a number of years. But sadly, it wasn't permanent. While I liked the challenges didn't keep up with me. And so I went looking for excitement, got myself into a lot of trouble, and ended up here for about 4 months. Behind those bushes you see in the center of the screen is a drainage ditch. And I had burned a number of bridges, and I'd put myself, at the age of 17, in a situation that was very hard for me to get out of. I spent a lot of time next to that ditch trying to figure out what got me there and how I was going to get out of it. So I ended up mending ditches, getting back into school, graduating, and getting on my way. A few years later, I have an apartment. I don't live on that yard, so don't worry about that. It's actually in one of those windows. I had an apartment, and while I was able to stay out of trouble, and I was able to keep myself challenged with both hobbies, music, art, things like that, I wasn't going anywhere. I was a lot of energy that wasn't moving forward. Until one weekend back in 2002, when my brother came down from D.C. This is in Newport News, Virginia, southern part of Virginia. My brother comes down from D.C. and he has a frank conversation with me. He says, if you really want to make something out of this design hobby that you have, if you're serious about this art stuff, then you need to go where the clients are. You need to move to D.C. About 6 months later, I had a U-Haul truck going up Interstate 95. I was gonna try it. I was gonna see if there was anything to it, because I wasn't making anything. I wasn't moving. I wasn't making any progress. That was 2002. I was there for about 6 months. Decided I was gonna start a company. I had no idea how to start a company, and honestly, 5 minutes before I decided to start a company, if you said I was gonna do it, I was gonna say you lost your mind. It was just a spark. Now, what did I learn from all this stuff? The first thing is, don't worry about setting goals right off the bat. Set up a dream. Make it vivid, make it visual, make it real, and make it surround everything that you really want to be. They can be conceptual. They don't have to be SMART goals at first. Say you want to spend more time with your kids. Say you want to live more than you work. Those are ideas, and those dreams will fuel you. A goal is a point, but a dream will push you forward. Number 2, create a system that works for you and don't be afraid to change the rules. I am not a big networker. I'm just not. But I know it's important. So instead of going to a networking event, and you know the kind, you don't really know anybody, and you're trying very hard to keep a conversation going, I just volunteer. And I'll work those events because it gives me purpose. And that purpose pushes me forward. And it also gives you a lot of small talk fodder because now you have something to talk about, right? You're there, you have a purpose, you have a mission. So if you find a situation where you don't quite fit, but you know it's important, change the rules, shift it a little bit, and find ways that you can make it work for you. Number 3, and this is a big one, fall in love with your story. We all have one, and we all have one big one. So what is your story? What is your life story? Focusing on what that story is, it changes your perspective, and now you're focusing on making that story great. Now it matters. Because 5, 10, 15 years from now, you want it to be a pretty good story, right? So keep that in mind when you're developing, when you're living your day-to-day. Do you want some great stories to tell? Do you want some great experiences? And that way of thinking, for me anyway, encourages spontaneity. The 4th is building a network that forces you to grow, encourages you, gives you no other choice but to grow. And I'm fortunate enough to say that I've got a lot of friends that are great at a number of things, probably far better than I will ever be. And I value that network because those are the things that while I'm seeking purpose and being pushed forward, they pull me along and give me something to aspire to and remind me that I'm never going to be as great as I want to be. There's always going to be something new I want to learn, whether that's another musical instrument. I play like 7 or 8 of them. It's really bad. Or maybe somebody is great at networking, or somebody's a great designer, or somebody's great at accounting, which I will never be. But I build a network that encourages me to grow. 5th, realize that people don't notice as much as you think. As I said before, I play a number of instruments. And so I've played in front of people before, a number of times. And I can proudly say, every time that I've played in front of people, I have screwed something up. Every single time. So either maybe I hit the wrong note, started off in the wrong key, whatever it was. I've made mistakes. But after I play, I'll ask the people that I played with, or people out in the audience that I knew, how'd it go? Did you notice that, that bridge part where I messed up? Didn't notice. Didn't notice at all. And that also communicates into the business world, or when you're networking. A few extra pounds or shoes that aren't polished will never be as important as your belief that they're important. So don't worry about the small stuff because chances are nobody's noticing. So this is me in a bunny costume. You'll probably be wondering why I'm showing you a picture of me wearing a bunny costume. This was at a church Easter egg drop where they dropped a bunch of eggs from a helicopter and they needed somebody to be the Easter bunny. I said, sure, why not? I'm just going to be wearing a costume. Nobody's going to know it's me. Until that morning when they realized that they didn't bring the face. And as you can tell, by the photo, I was really happy about it. It was surprising how many kids noticed that I do not look like the Easter bunny. But that experience, it taught me humility and that things are never really as bad as you think they are. So in conclusion, what I want to leave with you today, 2 things. 1, another embarrassing photo of myself. And 2, this one piece of advice. Be bold. Go take that weekend road trip that wasn't planned. take a different way to and from work. Say hi to a stranger, not just any stranger, be careful with that. Or fly all the way across the country to give a 10-minute speech and be proud of yourself that you did. Because I think it's the small things like that that make a life worth living. Thank you.